Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Pat Show, Transformation Talk Radio, transformationradio.fm. It's so great to be chatting with all of you out there. I am so loving what we're going to talk about today. Dr. Dan Cohen is in the house. Are you ready for this? Free will versus destiny. Oh, how much free will do we have and how can we best apply it? With my fabulous co-host today, Dr. Dan Cohen. Now, before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about Dan, because it is so fascinating to me that I get to chat with some people that have really been out in the world and have said, you know what? I think I'm going to be innovative, creative. I think that beyond being a neurologist, inventor, and author, I'm going to be out there looking at my own personal awakening, spiritual development, and then how does that really translate to the rest of the world? And that's Dr. Dan Cohen. What he does and what he has created is beyond even the words innovative. Because you heard me mention this at the last show. Einstein said this, and and other people have said it in other ways. And what they've said is, listen, if you're in a situation, you are not going to be able to solve that problem, move beyond that situation at the same level that it was created. But what does that mean? That means that there's something else we've got to tap into. How do we tap into it? Do we dial up our ego and say, hey, ego, help me out of this mess that I'm in? Or is there another way? Dr. Dan has been somebody that has been out in the world developing, sharing the messages, fabulous, fabulous books that we're going to mention a little bit later today. But beyond all of that, he's also the inventor of the Soul Tech Lounge. And I like to call it as the chair, but it's the chair that will transform your life. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's what I mean. If you're really stuck and you're trying to figure out, how do I create a different pattern? How do I look at this amazing way, years of research Dr. Dan put together to really combine healing and psychospiritual effects through synchronized sounds, vibration, electromagnetic fields. Now we know the power of all of that, right? Now, how do we take all of that and step in to our birthright to be amazing, magnificent, and help others do the same? That's what Dr. Dan is all about. And today we're going to talk about this idea of free will versus destiny. Confusing for people like me, because sometimes we think we're in the free will part of it, but we're not. Sometimes we think we're in the destiny, but we're in the free will. Well, are you ready? How much free will do we have? And how can we best apply it to our lives, to the world, and to that stuff that goes on inside? Dr. Dan, great to have you here.
Oh, it's nice to be here, Pat.
This is really a conundrum. I mean, will the real free will please stand up?
Or alternatively, will it please sit down?
Sit down. Yeah, boy. Now we're talking. Before we jump into it, there might be some people that don't really quite know exactly what we're referring to when we talk about free will and destiny. Give us a little sneak peek of this. Give us a little review.
Okay. Well, I think when most people think about free will, I think they've got a pretty good understanding of it. And that is, and they'll say to themselves, wait a minute, this is my life. I decide. I can make a choice. I'm in control. And in a sense, that's very true. Particularly, and let me put this caveat out there, particularly on the negative side of things. Okay? In other words, I can stop anything I want to. I can even stop my life if I choose. Therefore, I am ultimately in control. So from a negative standpoint, free will definitely can be in control. But I think we have to look at it from a positive standpoint and say, wait a minute, can you, from a free will standpoint, make good things happen? And how can you do that? Can you guarantee, for instance, that you're going to win the lottery? You know, can you guarantee that you're going to come up with a Nobel-winning, formula for the cure for cancer? Well, of course, you can't do these things. So that kind of thing doesn't work. So on the positive side, how do you figure out how to best live your life and what aspects of you are doing what from a free will destiny standpoint? These are the things I think we need to understand and sort of get into a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, and many people listening to this, as I know that you and I have talked about before, is we get to the point which, let's just pick a word, overwhelm. Let's just use the word overwhelm. By the time we get to overwhelm, it is like, oh my gosh, I just want to throw my hands up. And honestly, if we were to just throw our hands up, I think we'd be better off, but we don't do that. And maybe you can address this. What happens sometimes is we're overwhelmed and then we think we have to run faster, do more, be more.
Right. And in essence, what's happening there is our ego has taken control. And that's really what happens here. When you look at the free will part of the equation, you're really talking about ego. And if you break it up a little further in terms of, well, where does ego sit, in the body? It's essentially the brain. Okay? So the ego says, I'm going to be in control. I want to be in control. And that's my brain talking. And so how can you best use that part of you when you, like you said, are overwhelmed?
Yeah.
And when you said throw up your arms, that's actually metaphorically a good place to be. Because at that point, if you just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give up and just stop right now, and you stop your brain, then you've opened up the channel for information to come in. Okay? Come in through the real mind. And, excuse me, and if I had to say, organically in the body, where is the real mind? I would say it's your heart, okay? It's in your heart region. Call it your heart, call it your soul. But it's that aspect of you that is set to receive. And it's that aspect of you that really has signed up for this life to follow your destiny.
Yeah. How many times have you heard, or have I heard, or actually when we are actually talking to ourselves, right, Dr. Dan? How many times have we heard things like, wow, that just doesn't feel right to go in that direction. Or, wow, this actually feels so good maybe to say yes to this. And then we don't. So we have this dialogue that goes on. And I'm not just talking about these giant decisions we make. I'm not talking about the inventor that you are per se, but it does apply to that. I'm just talking about how difficult it is for some people to walk down a grocery aisle and decide what's for dinner, right? I mean, overwhelm puts us in a state of immobility that it's hard for us to actually realize. And I would love for you to talk about that, because some people think, well, wait a minute, being an inventor is more important. So those problems are bigger than not being able to pick out something for dinner. I don't know. They pretty much feel equally awkward to me.
Yeah, well, when it comes right down to it, most of everyone's lives are lived through mundane activities that are ordinary and routine. I mean, because that's
yep.
That's what a lot of life is.
Yep.
And so I think it certainly, everybody would be a lot happier and a lot less stressed if they could do these things with a lot more grace and ease.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, to be able to do those kinds of activities easily, it's really best if we can approach these things less from the brain and more from a feeling sense. And you did use that word early on in as you were talking about this, and it's feeling. And that's not something the brain does. The brain is a thinking, doing thing. Feeling comes from our emotional side, and it's anchored again in the heart. And when people feel those different poles, that's what they need to pay attention to.
Yeah. I want to take a short break, but I want to do this. There is a fabulous exchange in the movie The Matrix that I never forgot, and it was mind-boggling for me. I had to go back over it and really look at it. There was this fabulous exchange in one of The Matrix. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but it was definitely the one that Monica Bellucci was in, and it was about cause and effect. And I loved it because in this short movie clip, as the lead male actor is talking and explaining to his wife, cause and effect, she later takes that and does something in the movie. And then when it happens, kind of throws it back up to him to say, oh, darling, cause and effect. And what is actually happening is decisions that are being made, that some of them appear to be free will, some of them appear to be destiny, and some of them appear to be being on a journey, destiny-oriented, but not losing a sense of free will. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Dr. Dan about what is it about cause and effect, but most importantly, the interaction between free will and destiny, which enables us to have a conversation about, are we really in charge? What role do the soul take in any of this? Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Pat. The ancient Inca root vegetable maca is world-renowned for its wide array of health benefits. As a family-run company of true maca specialists, the maca team's mission is to provide you with fresh, organic, premium quality maca powders at a fair price. Amazing. All of the products are always organically grown, fair-traded, GMO-free, fresh, and potent. So don't take my word for it. Experience the life-changing benefits of maca today. Visit themacateam.com.
Are you searching? Looking for a sign? A message you need to hear? From the great unknown? From the most mysterious place? that is the most familiar to your soul in the depths of who you are. The universe put someone here to talk to, someone God gave a blessing to, that you may find insight with. TheAngelLady.net, 1-800-323-1790.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
There are so many resources out there for meditation. But did you know that Atana's Heart Earth Healing Meditation is available for you for free? Yes, that's right. You can receive this free healing meditation today from Atana Badili. All you need to do is visit his website, atanamethod.com. That's ATAANA method.com, and sign up. You will receive your free meditation instantly. That's atanamethod.com.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome back, everyone. Before we kind of jump ahead here, Dr. Dan Cohen is in the house, and I want to make sure that you go ahead and check out the website, tools, TOOLS, to awaken.com. And then also go check out his books, fabulous books, addictedtomyego.com. And again, toolstoawaken.com are going to, tell you about the Soul Tech Lounge that I talked about. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that actually help us with this like blurred line here between destiny and free will. It is blurred because, we don't really see how we have any sense of this, Dr. Dan, about being awake enough and aware enough to even understand the importance of knowing where we are. Maybe you can enlighten us here.
Well, let me give you an example as to how this can play out. And for me, this example was, very important. This happened in 1991, so it was 25 years ago. And at the time, I had started this company, and we were making medical equipment, high-tech medical equipment, brainwave monitors, and sleep disorders diagnostic equipment. And my vice president of manufacturing came to me one day and says, "Hey, I got a friend who has an idea. Would you be willing to meet with him?" And so I was happy to meet with him. And so this guy comes in, and he starts talking to me, and you could tell he's a little uncomfortable, and he didn't have his product out on the table. It was in his briefcase. And so finally I said, "Well, do you think I could see, what we're talking about?" And he was a bit embarrassed, as if somebody had laughed at him about this before. And so he reaches into his briefcase, and he pulls out a Curad Band-Aid. So just a Band-Aid. And there's a piece of plastic glued to the top of it. And I'm looking at this, and he goes to hand it to me, and I reach across the table to take it. And in a split second, it was like an entire movie went off in my head. And I see that this thing really shouldn't look like a, Band-Aid. It should have a fancier design. and I see football players wearing it, and I see it on drugstore shelves, and I see our stock price moving up, and I see newspaper articles and magazine articles written about the thing, and then I see the company being sold. And literally in a flash, I see the entire future of what became the Breathe Right nasal strip. And so I was literally shown everything as though it happened. And then I find myself looking at this Curad Band-Aid with a piece of plastic glued on top. And so I was literally shown the destiny of this whole project if I chose to pursue it, which was the free will part. Mm. So, obviously, when you see something like that and you experience it in that way, there's such a strong compulsion to follow through with it. I mean, who wouldn't want to follow through with that? Although my board of directors, when I took the product to them after I licensed it, they said, so wait a minute, we're a high-tech medical equipment company, and you licensed this nose Band-Aid? Although they were very happy later on, but frankly, I thought they were going to fire me when I did it.
But, part of this, though, is I think it gets back to what we were talking about or what I mentioned before, which is this idea of, who's actually in charge. And one of the things that I'm really struck by is how often we think we're in charge. We think that we are the people that have to make things happen. And I did refer to the clip from the Matrix movie, the whole cause and effect dialogue, where at some point we sit down and we think, if I do this, it will create this. If I don't do this, it will create this. And none of that has to do with anything operating outside of the realm of a very linear experience, right? If I eat an apple a day, right, that's the saying, if I eat an apple a day, A, B, C, D will happen. But that's not how it always works, is it?
No.
Yeah,
but
right?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, nobody can say in any instance how much is destiny versus free will. But if you believe that you are a spiritual being, and if you believe that you chose this life, then there was a life path created, and you're here to experience it. And so that's the destiny part of the equation. And for me, Breathe Right was part of my life path. But by the same token, the free will part was I still had to step up, choose it, and then implement all the details of the plan I was shown. But again, it's a very good example of what's the role of destiny. The destiny was this whole thing was laid out, and presumably if I followed the plan that I was shown, then it would all work out the way it was destined to work out. So I like that example from the standpoint of, there was a clear, here it is. You think you can do this? Go ahead, do it.
Yeah. And, what do you think is the greatest challenge we have, Dr. Dan, at figuring it out? And what do I mean by figuring it out? Figuring out the happy pathway, to the destiny of taking the yellow brick road to happiness, right? Let's just follow the yellow brick road, Another one of my favorite movies, right? You're following the yellow brick road, but my gosh, you don't think you're going to bump into a bunch of people on the yellow brick road that now you're going to have to manage, take care of, think you're going to get help, and along the way you find out, no, you don't.
Well, and that's all part of the life path that is there for you. And if you're, you'll get more sneak peeks, so to speak, if you're open to receive them. And you'll have a much better, sense as to how to proceed with your life if those things do happen. Because once you're informed at that level, the doubts that you hold have been reduced so dramatically that it makes it so much easier to use your free will in accordance with that plan. And so I think so much effort should be expended on our part in terms of how do I open myself up to receive my path. Mm-hmm. I think as a society, we've gone so far the other direction in terms of, egoic control. I'm in control. I decide this. I do that. This is what should happen. And there's no room for, wait a minute, why am I here in the first place? Why did I pick this life? What are my experiences? What experiences can I have that will best serve my own development? And be open to those things and allow that information to come to you. It's not that you have to know everything, but be open to receive and be open to be flexible and less willful in the process.
Well, one of the things, too, that I want to get back to is this idea of the soul, right? The soul.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about the word soul when we come back from break. And here's what I want to talk about. Everything from having a word like the soul being, number one hit songs, right? I mean, being a soul man, soul food that I grew up on, the pathway of the soul. The soul is the thing that's really, we can go on, but what is the role of the soul here? What is the role of the soul? Is it destiny? Is it free will? And does the soul literally, this is my term, is the soul a control freak? Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. Dr. Dan Cohen in the house, toolstoawaken.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
The Doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
Tune in to the Angels and Answers Psychic Radio Show with clairvoyants Artie Hoffman and Sky Siegel every Thursday for a 2-hour show, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio. Artie and Sky deliver spiritual and motivational messages with passion and a sense of humor. Call in 800-930-2819 for live and on-air readings. Visit artiehoffman.com and skyofangels.com.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
Do you want to achieve your goals? Do you want to strengthen relationships with others? Do you want to improve your financial status? Colette Marie Steffen is partnering with Mark Kettenbach to bring you an energetic upgrade online experience launching in April. Unfold and develop your full potential. Visit energeticupgrade.com today for more information. That's energeticupgrade.com.
Follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick road. You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. You'll find he is a wizard, a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever, oh, ever a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does.
Hey, everybody, it's great to be back with all of you. Dr. Dan Cohen is in the house. Dr. Dan, I gave out the website toolstoawaken.com and addictedtomyego.com. And can you tell folks about the books that are available and also information available about the Soul Tech Lounge? Because we're going to talk a little bit about that here when we talk about the role of the soul.
Yeah, I think the best starting book is Addicted to My Ego, because that sort of outlines the path that I've worked through, and it really explains a lot of these concepts in more detail, and I think in a much more relatable way, particularly the whole sort of interface between ego and soul. So I think we can get a better understanding as to how do we operate, and with some tips as to how people can develop those kinds of inner dialogues themselves. So I think that's helpful. And then in terms of the technology, this is technology, the Soul Tech Lounge that we've worked on for the past 19 years, and it's been very helpful for practitioners and individuals to use to really quiet the brain so that they can get to these other aspects of themselves so much more easily. And that's been very rewarding in terms of people's own experience of these deeper aspects of themselves, their spiritual side.
Yeah. And that is really important in the world today because, people used to say problem solving was the number one thing we want to learn about. Today, what we're saying is no, it's actually awareness. Having a sense of the world of possibilities and becoming aware of what they are, I think is the fastest way for us to step into whatever that next thing is. And that really brings us to the conversation about the soul. The soul, what is the role of the soul? Whether it's soul man or soul food that I grew up on, it doesn't matter. There's a meaning that the word soul brings to the forefront that we get really confused about, Dr. Dan. We're like, well, wait a minute. This is my soul's journey. It's going to go in this direction. I really don't have much to say. What do you think about that?
Well, your soul definitely chose this life for a reason. And the reason was, it needs to round out its experience. I mean, our soul is our dimensional gateway to all that is. It's our connectedness, because, we are all, one thing. And this is how we connect into that one thing, And so our soul doesn't necessarily make the day-to-day decisions here, but it's made the big decision to take on this life, to experience this life. And there it is that interface so that we can get much better understanding as to how to proceed in this life. And there are, what I mentioned previously, that example in terms of what I was shown, that's a great example of my soul saying, I need this human being to make this decision to move on this project because this is part of this life path. And if I don't do something a little bit more dramatic here and open his eyes to the possibilities, he may miss it. And once I saw the possibilities, I was so overwhelmed by that path and the rightness of it for me that I made those choices. So the soul is that it's the higher mind. It's that wisdom that underlies what we are. And so it's vital to fortify and grow that link so that we have greater and greater awareness of what we truly are. So that's how I would view the soul. And in terms of free will, when it gets down to the nuts and bolts of our everyday activity, our brain, our body and brain and our activities, the doing aspect of us, that's the free will to sort of carry out the plan. And what you really hope for, what your soul really hopes for, is to sync up the plan with the activity so that the doing that occurs is in accordance with the destiny that was chosen.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, how many times have you heard people say, you know what, that's just the hand I've been dealt, right? That's just the hand I've been dealt. Lines like that say, here I am, and I'm just really going to go along the way, whatever shows up in my life. Now, I did not grow up with a mom that believed in that. I grew up with a mom that absolutely believed that she was never going to be the victim of her own life circumstances. And this is a woman that had her first child at 12 and her second child at 13 in the Deep South. And believed in the power of perseverance. So you can see from her end of it, there were things she was going to do to make things change. I'll also tell you about her. I really consider her one of the most intuitive people I think I've ever met in a lot of ways. And everything from picking the right bingo card at bingo, right? To looking at picking a home to live in. So what is the blend of this, Dr. Dan? What is the blend, the road that we have to go on so that we know how to get through the labyrinth of this soul journey that really has us in between destiny and free will. And sometimes we choose well, sometimes we don't.
Right. And I think our chances of choosing well are so much better if they are felt. In other words, if you can move your sense of self from head-centered to heart-centered, really be fully engaged and grounded in the body and feel and allow that sense of that felt sense of rightness or wrongness when it comes to a decision to be determined at that level, your chances of making a good decision are far superior. And unfortunately, I think all too often, we're taught to operate from the head. Everything should be rational and logical. And I think that advice is fraught with all sorts of problems. And I'm telling you this as a neurologist, for God's sakes. My whole education was based on the brain, and I'm telling you, no, sorry, go to the heart. It's not in the brain.
Yeah. I love that we're actually talking about going to the heart, because I think the heart, when we say going to the heart, what does that look like? Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. In my case, I dialed the wrong phone number. I didn't hang up. I bought my first hour of airtime. And despite everybody around me telling me I've lost my mind and that I shouldn't spend not one more dime on buying airtime, which absolutely was wrong, I went ahead and did it anyway. And when I started to doubt myself, I literally got too sick to do anything else, physically sick. So it's fascinating, right? How we make these choices and what the people around us think. So can you talk about how we can have the courage, Dr. Dan? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, how do we muster up the courage to follow the heart despite everything in the outside world, all the people in our lives, threatening to divorce us, you name it, all of the above. How do we do that? Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back. You're listening to Dr. Pat Show, my very special co-host today, Dr. Dan Cohen. Yep, how do we muster up that courage right there? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Get into it for 2016. Do you want more prosperity, clarity, energy, and balance in your life? Join Lynn Brown now through March for one of her amazing workshops, each focusing on a key part of living your best life. For more information and to register for one of these amazing workshops, visit lynnbrownevent.com. That's lynnbrownevent.com. And get into it this 2016 with Lynn Brown.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Shine On Radio. Find Your Shine with Kelly is the show that celebrates what makes you, you. Join co-hosts Kelly Wadler and Dr. Pat Basili as they break down how to brilliantly fuel and move your body and love what makes you shine. Kelly is a professional arts and wellness coach dedicated to helping brilliant women find their confidence, energy, self-love, and shine. Tune in to Shine On Radio with Kelly and find your shine on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Disease, one of the most dreaded words in our vocabulary. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know traditionally we have viewed disease as a degenerative process? Disease is better understood when we view it as dis-ease in the human body. Dis-ease means without ease. Health is not merely the absence of disease, it's when every part of the body works together effortlessly, relaxed and at ease. It's that relaxed state that lets energy flow in waves through and around the entire body. Every organ has an electrical charge, and when overcharged or undercharged, dis-ease occurs. And it is an effort to go through our day. We are able to determine the exact dis-ease of the body and design a specific solution to correct the nutritional imbalance. Contact us at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Dr. Dan Cohen. I'm Dr. Pat, and we're just having a blast. I want to just say to everyone that when I first met Dr. Dan and he was telling me about the Soul Tech Lounge, I thought this is fascinating. And then he sent me one. And I thought, what is this going to be like for me? What happens when I agree to put myself in this space of this amazing technology, this fabulous chair? What would happen? And today, I'm not able to explain the details of that, but he and I are going to do another show, which will. Here's what I will tell you that has changed for me. From an innovative and creative side, all of what's happening here on the show, the new network, the technology, the level of change, the creative forces and energy around that somehow come to consciousness almost at light speed. Now, did it happen overnight? Well, I think in one case, the first time I actually used the lounge, used the chair, something extraordinary did happen, but I'm not able to describe it. We're going to do a show in the future about what it is about this technology that for people like me that may have a lifetime of yeah buts, even as positive as I am, how does it help a very large vision then become a reality? And that's part of what we're talking about now, too, Dr. Dan, right? I'm not sure people out there come up with ideas and vision and dreams for their lives only so that they never get implemented. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
No, that happens a lot, and I think it's important to have the experience of the idea generation or the vision, whatever you want to call it, that impulse, if that can be experienced in a felt sense more dramatically so that the impact can be much more significant, then the likelihood that you're going to follow through with it, the impetus to really proceed and make something happen is far greater because you felt it so strongly, and so it really shifted you. And that's so much different than a thought. I mean, a deep feeling at the center of your being that really propels you, that sustains you during the trials and tribulations that we often experience from others after we have an idea. Because, as you know, you can have an idea and say, God, this feels right. I really should do this. This is perfect for me. And then you tell 10 people and 9 of them say, you're nuts. I mean, you've had that experience, right, Pat?
Totally. Yeah, totally. And it was more than nuts. It was not only are you nuts, but by the way, what you're doing is really irresponsible, unreliable. Do you ever think you'll make a difference? I mean, go get a real job, Pat.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and, I remember when I licensed what became the Breathe Right nasal script, my board of directors, they had a meeting without me. I didn't know about it. 2 days later, 2 of them show up in my office and said, because I started the hiring process to bring in somebody from a pharmaceutical company to launch the product, and they said, no, you know what? Replace yourself, and if you like it so much, you do it. In other words, if it doesn't work, you will have already replaced yourself and you'll be out of a job. And so, therefore, it's up to you. You either do it or it doesn't happen. And so I decided to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and that's me too. And, here we are today. But one of the most exciting things that I love talking about with you is this is the plan. I talk with people, and I've done a number of interviews where they say, my gosh, what did your plan look like? And then I tell them what my plan looked like. Clearly it was simple for me, Dr. Dan. On the back of my business card, I wanted to reach 1 million people, and I wanted to help them live life full out. That's still what's on the back of my business card today. That was my plan. Mm-hmm. How do we set into motion, and it's not even a plan, how do we set an intention into motion and then be open for the way it's going to show up for us? Because this is not the way I thought it would show up.
Right. Well, and this is sort of contradictory to the way society has moved over the past, couple hundred years. We've moved to more and more head-centric behavior and activities when, in fact, we need to keep our feeling nature open, and we need to cultivate that and really allow that to come to not only fruition, but to fulfillment. In other words, let those feelings emerge, nurture them, and fortify that each and every day so that it gives you the confidence to proceed in spite of the fact that so many of your, friends, family, whatever, doubt you and tries to instill doubt in you so that you'll go a direction that they think is more prudent. But you have to follow your path, and the only way you're going to feel good about that is if you're sustained from within, and that is a felt sense as opposed to just a brain logical fact-based decision-making process.
Yeah. What are the greatest challenges? What are the greatest challenges, Dr. Dan, for people listening to the show? What are some of the challenges that people think about when, or experience when they start to move towards, paying attention to the soul? What do you think shows up for folks?
Well, right away, I think it's often doubt. Because they have a sense of that, but then they go back to their normal routine, which is more head-centric. And so, grounding exercises, physical activity, things that really allow your consciousness to move throughout your body, greater feeling sense. I mean, this is why I use the Soltec Lounge every day. I mean, I use it in the morning basically to set the tone for my day so that I'm fully in my body and my feeling nature is very strong. And that's where I go so that, if any doubt comes my way, I don't sit there and then ponder it and then scrutinize it and worry about it from a head-centric manner. Instead, I go into the body and say, is this real? And that's the beauty of the Soltec technology. It's really all about, hey, let's quiet the brain and let's feel. Let's amplify our feeling nature, because our spiritual self interacts with us on a feeling level, not on a. It's not a voice that comes into your head. It's a thought. It's much more feeling in nature. For the most part, for most people. I mean, some people can get very clear communications, but by and large, for most people, it's very much feeling in nature.
Yeah. And I know we're going to do a future show. We're going to talk about how lives are being changed. People are going to come on. They're going to talk about, what's happened. Here I am today. This is what's changed. What has been for you, knowing that folks have experienced this shift and change? What has been one or two of the aha experiences you've seen? What comes to the forefront when you think about this? I know you talk to people every day. What's something that pops up?
I think when they have spiritual encounters and when they realize that, what they thought they were, they can start to experience. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes, the spiritual realm then becomes so much more real that they lose a lot of the doubts that they have about it, and then they're freer to explore, they're freer to accept, and they're more resistant to criticism from other people who haven't experienced these kinds of things. And that for me has also been the most important, because I was not born with any of these kinds of gifts, and so for that realm to open up to me to a greater extent has been life-changing, because now I get to experience it, and I can do that, more and more of the time, and I can live my life in that way. So it's not just when I'm in the lounge, it's when I'm in life, and I choose to experience my life that way from a deep feeling sense, which I can do because of the training I've had by being in the Soltec Lounge, day after day. Yeah.
And I love this. We're going to be bringing on people here in future shows with Dr. Dan, because, this is really a time where things are moving at such an accelerated pace that so many people are. I have heard more people use the word confusion in the past 6 months than I think I have in the past 6 years. And there's a reason for it. And I know, Dr. Dan, we're going to talk about that moving forward. Thank you for today. One last question. What is your personal message? What would you like to leave us with?
Feel deeply, go to your heart, and allow yourself to not only feel, but express what you're feeling to those around you.
Yeah. And thank you, guys. Thank you, all of you out there. Thank you so much. And what I'd like to say about that, stay the course, boy. I'm telling you, there is an end game that happens, and you will be amazed. We'll see you next time, everybody.
preceding audio was via a Skype call.